What is happening, everybody? It is Trey here. I'm joined again by my dad, Sean. And today we got a really fun one. We are going to be doing our detailed track-by-track review of the Who's seminal album, Who's Next? And Sean, we haven't really ever listened to the Who before.
Nah, just a couple songs here and there. I mean, a little before my time, I'd heard some Daltrey single stuff in the 80s, but nothing like this, man.
No, man, nothing full album like this. And this is your first time stopping by Reactions to the Classics. Thank you for joining us. Here, we break down some of the most classic albums of all time in a track-by-track format. And just like this time, usually it is our first time listen of the album. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. All that fun intro stuff out of the way. Sean, let's get into some quick facts.
Let's do it. This album came out in August 1971, the month and year of my birth.
There you go.
It was good times, man. After I listened to this album, I realized it was even better time.
Yeah.
Fifth studio album by The Who, and this bad boy is number 28 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. Now this thing is interesting because it was developed from an aborted project that Townshend wrote called the Lifehouse Project. He wrote it as a follow-up to the 1969 album Tommy that later became a movie and a Broadway play. So everybody in the group, he wanted to get out of this album and then tour. So this is kind of his way to try to do that. He had variously described Lifehouse as a futuristic rock opera, then a live recorded concept album, and as the music for a scripted film project. So here's the plot. Set in the near future in a society in which music is banned and most of the population live indoors in government-controlled experience suits. A rebel named Bobby is our hero here, and he broadcasts rock music into the suits, allowing people to remove them and become more enlightened. So Townshend is a deep guy that we'll get into kind of through these tracks that he wrote. He wrote everything except for one song on this album as well.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, Kit Lambert, their manager, they kind of came to a head and just decided that Lifehouse was too complicated and nixed it, but they thought, hey, we have enough songs to make just a straightforward rock album.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm glad they did. I'm glad they went forward with it. And something very unique that you hear, obviously, from the first song is the use of the synthesizer.
You're exactly right. This is the first time that a rock band had took the synthesizers and brought them to the forefront. Before they were just kind of backing stuff.
Yeah.
But Townshend takes the ARP 2500, a new synthesizer at the time. He can even plug his guitar into it, messes with it, does a lot of things. It's very, very big on the first song on the album, which we're going to get to right now, which is Baba O'Reilly.
I think everybody, whether they know it or not, is probably familiar with this
They
song.
at least know the opening.
Yeah.
It's about a 1 minute synthesizer riff. It's a number 340 song on the Rolling Stones top 500 songs of all time. I mean, it's a heck of a way to start an album.
And I've always kind of wondered, okay, why is it named Baba O'Reilly?
I always wondered that too. It's very weird.
Townshend had a couple big influences in his life. The first one was Meher Baba, and he was a Indian spiritual guru of sorts that really impacted Townshend.
Still impacts him this day. He's followed his teachings most of his adult life.
And then also a guy named TREY, who was a musician, kind of under the radar, but had another huge impact on Townshend's life. And Townshend kind of stated, he stated a couple different things about this album. One, you hear the Teenage Wasteland in the chorus, talking about Townshend's effect at Woodstock, how all these teenagers were tripping on acid and just getting wasted.
It ended up having brain damage. Over 20 of them had brain damage.
Yeah, exactly. And he's also said, too, that some of the inspiration was just behind how teenagers waste their lives and don't go out and make...
No offense if you're a teenager.
Yeah, exactly. And, just kind of waste the days away and don't make an impact on the world. So I think that's kind of neat how there's kind of a dual interpretation you can have here. But to the song itself, man, I thought this thing was just unbelievable. What a way to start off the album, man.
Oh, this thing is just tremendous. It's a great opener, and I think an interesting thing about it is Townshend sings the bridge while Roger Daltrey sings the main lyrics. And that's going to bring us into our second song. Same exact setup, Bargain. And Bargain is a love song, but it's going to play back into what you just said about Townshend and Baba O'Reilly. This is a love song to Baba because he wants to become one with him. And
kind of become one with God in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. And so It's just really, really good. The difference when he comes in, when Townshend comes in and sings the bridge, just the difference in him and Daltrey's voice. I mean, this song is so good.
Yeah, and I noticed in a lot of these songs, man, they do a really good job burying up the instruments in here, more so than a lot of bands we review. And it, I'm not one to really talk about and notice the instrumentation as much as we focus on the lyrics.
Sure.
But with this, man, Keith Moon, I think this was his best performance on the entire record, especially at the end. These drums are pounding, man. I just noticed Townshend's awesome solos and Moon's thumping drums. They really just stood out to me on this track and just made it great for me.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, on any list you're ever going to see of the top 5 drummers of all time,
yeah, Moon's going to be up there.
Moon's on every one of them. And Entwistle, the bass player, is going to be in the top 10 on any bass player.
Yeah.
And Townshend's on most top 10 greatest guitarists of all time. So you're talking about a superstar group all the way around.
Then that takes us to the third track and shortest track, Love Ain't for Keeping.
Yeah, it's only 2 minutes and 10 seconds long.
Yeah, and this didn't even have a synthesizer this time, and it was more lighter, kind of acoustically based a little bit. But I really enjoyed this one, man. I thought it was a cool message that love ain't for keeping. You gotta go give your love to the world, essentially. That's a message that I think most people can get behind, and a good vocal performance here as well by Daltrey.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of a blues tinged country love song is kind of how you would wrap it all up. Good song, not a lot else to say about it. It's going to bring us to the only song not written by Townshend, and this is sung by the same guy that wrote it, the bass player, John Entwistle. And this song is called My Wife.
Oh man, this was hilarious, dude.
The first time I heard it, I thought, what is this thing doing? You read the lyrics, you listen to it, this is fantastic. Here's what happened. Entwistle goes out on a Friday night, he gets drunk, he gets thrown in the drunk jail because he's so drunk. He's in there all weekend long. Yeah. Now he's coming home and he's scared to death of his wife, Trey, because, I don't know, she's crazy, she's a violent woman.
He's talking like, okay, I better go get a bodyguard. I better get a machine gun. I better get in a car and freaking get out.
I need a black belt bodyguard with a machine gun. Yeah, because she's not going to listen to me. She's just going to come after me and kill me. So it's all about how he's got to get out of there. It's so funny.
No, I just thought it was great, and just it was a nice differentiation here.
Definitely.
And at the end, I thought it was funny too, where he's like, "She's coming, she's coming." So it's like, oh man, he didn't get away in time.
Yeah,
the wife scorn's coming.
It is a nice change of pace.
And that takes us into the nice love ballad. The song is over. This time it's a little different because we got Townshend singing the verses and Daltrey's
doing the chorus. Yeah, exactly.
So a little differentiation there, but man, I thought this one was a standout track on a record full of standout tracks. And I enjoyed just kind of how he talked about a relationship, but he went from a different angle. He talked about it, how a song was ending.
Yeah. So it's a breakup song. It's over, but you kind of got to accept it. Townshend kind of sings the doom and gloom of it, and then Daltrey kind of comes in the chorus and says, "Yeah, but I sing to wide open spaces." There's
some wistful optimism.
Yeah, there's somebody else out there on the horizon for us all. So I thought this song is, oh man, it's way up there,
and it's just another good use of some instrumental breaks in here. Like the thing I like about the Who, as we're getting into them, every band member it seems has a point to shine on the record, and even in each individual song. Whereas a lot of times, either it's just going to be that guitar player or just the lead vocalist. Here, the bass and drums get some props up here as well.
All right, Trevor, we're going to start off the B-side with Getting in Tune. Daltrey sings it. Townshend wrote it. I absolutely love this song. Just listen to it over and over again. The song really, really stands out because there's a lot of tempo changes, and it is just tremendous. Everybody shines on this song.
No, I'm going to just back up everything you said, Sean. I thought this was a really great track here. Again, it was pretty long. I noticed a lot of the songs on here were in the 5-minute range. You had a few that were shorter, but
yeah, it's 9 songs, 43 minutes, and one of them was only 2 minutes long. So yeah, you're right.
And as you mentioned, I think those longer songs give everybody a chance to really shine, really show off all the talent that was in the group. And Getting in Tune was another example of that. And I just dug everything about it, man. Then that takes us into Going Mobile, and this is Townshend led.
Yeah, Daltrey isn't even in the studio. He's not even there on this track. It's just the three.
Just the 3-man group. And this pretty much is a straightforward song about a group, a family that's able to have a mobile home and go out on the open road. Apparently, this kind of came in to the Lifehouse story somehow.
And Townsend had just bought a mobile home the year before, so he kind of brought his own personal stuff.
So kind of dual stuff together. And man, this was kind of funny. I was like, I mean, the first time I heard it, I was like, does there really need to be a song about a mobile home?
No, I know.
But like, then once you hear it, you're like, yeah, there really does.
Yeah, no, it's just a fun little song. I mean, it sticks in your head. Like, obviously, it doesn't stand out as a great song on this album, but it's just there, man. I really do like it. Next up, we have Behind Blue Eyes, sung by Daltrey. If you're younger, you're going to know the 2003 version by Limp Bizkit, but let me tell you something, this version is a whole lot better. This song is really from the perspective of the villain, whose name is Jumbo in the Lifehouse play. And he feels like he's misunderstood. He's kind of forced into being a villain, but he's really a good guy. And so,
so this is kind of his
sad eyes.
Yeah, this is kind of his perspective of the world. Yeah. That, man, I kind of have to force these people to feel these emotions kind of from these suits, but I really have emotions myself and whatnot. And I think it could be interpreted a lot of different ways for people, either that are, feel alienated from the world, depressed, an outcast. I think that this could kind of be an anthem for them, and this was my personal favorite track. I just thought the vocal performance was really cool here, and just had a really neat, haunting, neat sound.
It's good.
Like ominous, like, oh man, this guy really is feeling something here, and that made me feel something. Then we go into the closing track, Won't Get Fooled Again. This thing's very critically acclaimed, number 134 on Rolling Stone's Top 500 Songs of All Time, and this, Sean, was written as the closing number to the Lifehouse, a project that we've been alluding to throughout this entire record. And this was meant to criticize revolution and power in general.
And it's over 8.5 minutes long. And this thing is epic. It was written for the end of the Lifehouse. Bobby, the main character, is killed, and the quote universal chord is sounded. And when that happens, the main characters supposedly disappear, leaving behind the government army, who are left to bully each other. So, I mean, like I said, this is strange because it's an album, but it was really supposed to be put in context of a play. And this song kind of, more than any other one, kind of plays that out. But really good song, really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's an epic ride. It's 8.5 minutes long.
No, and I just think that very deep themes throughout this entire record, and this is no different. How kind of saying how if once people want a revolution to start, they're going to say, oh, we're not going to be like the previous people, but at the end of the day, they just repeat the same stuff.
Yeah, they have the same, it just goes back to the same way. Now these people are in power in the government and everything. Yeah, and we see that in America, where no matter what political party is in play, in power, like it just returns back to how it was.
It's always the same, but I thought this was a great way to end the record, and again, some great instrumental portions to this, and that's going to take us right into our favorite tracks. For me, this is going to be Behind Blue Eyes. That was the top one for me. That's one of my favorite songs we've heard going through these reviews. Baba O'Reilly, of course, absolute classic. How can you not love that? Really enjoyed Bargain as well. That one I had obviously never heard, and I just thought the drums especially just put that to the next level for me. What about you, Sean?
Well, that tells you how good this album is, because my two favorite songs you didn't mention. Getting Into Tune and The Song Is Over.
Yeah, I'd put The Song Is Over. That's right. That was an excellent one.
It's really hard for me to pick. I didn't even mention a least favorite because I don't have one.
No,
but it's very hard to pick. So those are my two favorites. What'd you give this overall thing?
Well, to me, man, I'm going to go a very solid 8.75. That's going to be an album that I thought was very great throughout the entire record, and an album that I want to own. I got to hit this thing up on vinyl.
I can't wait.
Bro, I'm sure that's going to sound sick on vinyl.
It's going to sound awesome
on that
vinyl.
Stereo system we got. Oh, I can't wait. It's just going to be a great experience. But what about you, Sean? I know you love this record. What are you giving this thing?
I'll tell you what, of all the albums we've listened to so far in reactions to the classics, the ones that I weren't familiar with, which is almost all of them, the first time I listened to this album, I'm like, man, this thing is great.
Yeah, you knew just from first.
And wow, let me tell you something. There was no acquired taste on this one for me. This is just my kind of music. I'm giving it a 9.75.
Ooh, there we go, baby.
This thing is, I've listened to this thing so much, and I will continue to listen to it. It is just, it's so good. So 9.75 for me.
Dude, no, this was great. This was an awesome introduction to The Who.
It was.
I know this is kind of their most acclaimed album, but they have some others on here that we'll be looking forward to reviewing in the future too. And I guess that's going to wrap it up from us today, man. So please let us know in the comment section below, what do you think of Who's Next? What is your favorite track on this record? And what are some other records from them that we should be looking at in the future? And also be sure to hit that big red subscribe button, guys. As I mentioned earlier, we upload twice a week in a variety of genres. There will be something for everybody here, man. And I think you'll enjoy that. But Sean, as always, thanks for joining.
Oh, it was great, man. What a great experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. The Who really love y'all. We'll be back for sure. And until next time, happy listening, my friends, and we will see you.